Making content can be really easy, and it really comes down to just telling a story. And, there's a lot of people who will say something like, here's 5 tips to do this. Here's how to, make a bowl of soup in under 5 minutes. There's that stuff. That stuff can work. And when it fails, which is more often than not, it's because it's missing the story. So storytelling is a secret. And you might think, well, I don't know how to tell a story. Well, that's what this place is for. I'm going to teach you how to tell stories. I'm going to teach you how to make better content. Basically, you take people on a journey through something and you make it into a story. It's really kind of simple. And even if there isn't a story, you can still make it a story. Let's just say you wanted to make tea, right? You are making tea. Well, you can either film it in a cinematic way, like shot to shot, and go through the process, or you can just be talking and put them down and you're making tea in front of it and be like, man, I'm really tired right now. And, I actually prefer tea over coffee, actually. I think that the caffeine hits me a little different. It's a lot smoother, where the caffeine, in a way of coffee, it seems more sharp. And I never really liked that, where tea, I don't know, maybe it's just the mood of it or the smell, but it makes me feel this way. And you do that while you're making the tea. And because it's part of your story, it's part of something you didn't really have too much going on, but this is part of your life. Even if you're a psychologist talking about this and you do this tea, it's like they're getting to know you. They're talking about what relaxes you. And they might be like, yeah, they've got it together. They feel good. They like tea. I want to drink more tea. I love drinking tea. And every time I see somebody drinking tea and they have an enthusiasm about it, then yeah, I want to make tea. And that means I am influenced, right? And this is kind of how you do it. You influence them with who you are. When you create content and you're like, I don't know what to do. Well, I recommend keeping a journal and journaling a lot, because it's going to dump your brain out. And if you dump it out onto a page, you'll also see a bunch of topics and things that you thought about, things that you've done. All of these can become content pieces. And every given day, you're going to have quite a bit. Even if you just sit in a room all day, your brain's going to be running and you're going to have a lot of ideas. What's your specialty? Just talk about that. Just talk about something that you know or you learned one time, and flip open one of your textbooks if you read one of those to learn something, or watch a YouTube video and then figure out how they did it wrong, and you can say the same thing better, because your voice matters even if it's the same thing. And think about too is like, what do they get from your page? Like, what is it that if I were to follow you, I would get? What am I actually understanding about you? And this can be hard, I know, but if you just think about it as like, hey, listen, I stand for this. I love this. If you follow me, you're going to get, and you should have some kind of an answer. It may not be the best answer, and say, okay, well, that's a cue to like work on that. Just generally speaking, if you can't figure it out, ask somebody who doesn't care that much, but kind of knows what you're doing. They go, oh, you're the guy who goes against the grain, right? It's a really, really just simple, bland observation from somebody who doesn't care. That's probably closer to what you actually are doing to your audience. And of course, do things that you love. Like, I'm going to talk about this Peak Design phone case because I love it. I think it's great, even though most of the time I actually don't even use it. But I use it often enough that it's a big deal for my filmmaking and everything like that. I love that stuff. So I'm going to be talking a little bit more about that. And so far, that's all I kind of talk about is the things I love. And I have built a following without any direction in the past. So let's go through this different types of content. You have how you found the love for the thing, the story and everything about that, showing you making different things. If you have anything physical, this is a really great way to have content, such as like if you're like a artist or painter or something, that can really, really apply to you. Alternatively, let's say you're thinking about personal development, you can still be making something and be talking about whatever it is, the lesson, because it's really engaging to have something on. Another lesson that I really need to talk about a little bit more, but doing something in screen while you're talking about something can be unrelated is really good, captivating content. Breaking things down to simple steps. I actually say no more than 3, because the way the human brain generally thinks is they think 1, 2, 3, many, and you don't want to overwhelm. It's just as soon as we get to 4 things, we're like, oh, but we can see 3 at all times easily. A good way to explain this, because this is such a strong point, he'll just do a little experiment here with me. Think about and feel the bottom of your right foot. Now, think about the back of your left elbow at the same time. Think and feel about both of them. Now, think and feel about the top of your head. So you feel all those. Now, think about back left calf. And your brain starts to get a little jumbled, and it gets really difficult to hold all 4 really clearly. I'm not saying you can't, I can do it, but it's just like it gets weird. So 1, 2, 3, many. Try to keep things under 3. And this leads to the thing is don't overwhelm them. Give them something happy. They're on social media, they're enjoying themselves, they're on off time. Just be good. Don't overwhelm. It doesn't have to be super serious. You can do that in the courses and all the things they sign up for. But when you're spreading content, you don't want it to be difficult. A lot of times I see a lot of content creators do this. They ask like they don't actually want it. They'll be like, if you're interested in 5 ways to make soup, it's like, no. Assume that they are already interested in it. You say, the 5 best ways to make soup in 5 minutes are, and just assume that they want to know it. Are you interested? Like, they're going to say no. Most people's default is saying no. So just stop doing that. Assume they want to know. Have some confidence that what you love is what they love. And then think about there's 3 types of content. There's inspiration, education, and entertainment. So inspiration is showing them what you're doing, what you've done, and that they can do it as well. And then education is, it's the best kind of content type. It's the actual like huge value. It's like teaching them something. But sometimes teaching them can be something like a little bit of a mix, like of inspiration, like teaching them that there is another way or something like that. But any kind of value in an educational form is going to be really powerful. And then entertainment, this is where your creativity can shine. This can be your vlogs. It can be that you making the tea. It can be you sharing your family. It can be whatever it is. That's entertainment. And this is really powerful to connect with you and become relatable and likable. And then finally, if you wanted one more kind of content, goes back to like that engagement, like polls, talking to them, DMing them, just actually treating them like a person. People want to be noticed. People want to be loved and feel like they're special. So you can do that. And you can do that because all you have to do is just give them attention, comment back. Try to comment on every single comment on social media, YouTube, whatever. Make them feel special. Make them feel heard. Make them not seem like they're just behind a screen, that they're actually a real person. So that engagement and what do you think and conversation and companionship, that's really, I believe, a big, big part of what's going to happen in 2024. So I have this one thing I've been stewing on. It's just a little phrase. It's when it comes to content and having that shareable, quality versus quantity, all that stuff, here's a saying I like is good gets the views, great makes the news. Try to remember that and dig into your content and say, can I make this great? So great that it's shareable. And then you can reverse engineer that and be like, all right, what is shareable? What is good enough? What would I share? What have I shared? And this really takes your content up. Even if it's just a little bit of a notch, it's still worth doing it because you never know that one little thing could just really be the thing that people love.